Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, parenting your parent in the era of COVID-19. We'll be talking to a senior care specialist next on the Jeff Crilley Show.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I speak as a baby boomer. I'm always worried when I get a phone call from Waco in the middle of the day. Why? My mom and dad are in their 80s, and they're both doing well, but if they called and one of them was sick, what would I do? I would be in a panic. Somebody who knows that story so well, Christy Byerly, she's with a senior living specialist. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about this. I mean, first, tell me your journey. You got into senior care for a reason that had to do with your brother.
I did, yes. So my brother, he had cancer when he was 7, and he's doing great now. He survived and has a son and doing great. But my parents started a charity tennis tournament and worked a lot with Children's Medical Center of Dallas. And when we were going through the whole process of chemo and radiation, I wish that there was someone at that time that was there for me and my sister, and the whole family, not just the patient. So social work is where I landed, and I love helping the whole family when they're going through a medical crisis.
And you were telling me that often you're meeting the families at their worst. I mean, mom just broke her hip. I mean, you're coming to really become a therapist and counselor, and what is that like for you?
I love it. It's getting to help families when they're at a bad time, a crisis mode. Like you said, they're dealing with a broken hip, hospital, what are they gonna do with the dog, the bills, everything else, and then a mom can't go back home. So then they're stressed trying to find a place, and rehab's not very long. It's gonna be like a week or two. So they're in a crisis mode, and they have to find a place pretty soon. So hopefully I step in and I'm a neutral sounding board, and can help kind of ease some of the stress of what to do next.
And she walks her talk, because you're dealing with this right now with your own family.
I am, yes. My grandparents are in their mid to late 80s, and they're still living on their own, probably shouldn't be. And this is what I do for a living, and I still can't get them to commit to go to an assisted living. We've had a down deposit at an assisted living, and they know exactly where they're gonna go, and it's very hard to convince someone that it's time to go to the next step.
Well, what I like about that story is that you can really relate to the people who come to see you, because you're living it. So there's a wonderful commercial. It's a 30-second commercial. These are not actors and actresses. I want to go ahead and roll that now.
At Senior Living Specialists, we are the most experienced, locally owned company that provides a free service to help families find the appropriate independent living, assisted living, memory care, or residential care home for your loved one.
She's finally happy, because I wouldn't have known what to ask. He supplied me with everything that I needed.
Senior Living Specialist mission is all about doing the right thing for families.
That was real. I mean, those are real families that you were working with.
Yes, those are real families we worked with, and we had helped them help get our mom to the right place, and they loved it, and they were appreciative of all the help and guidance that we provided during that stressful time.
And one of the people who was featured in that commercial was your founder, and he has an interesting journey as well.
He does. His name is Paul Markowitz, and he was 26, working in downtown Dallas and traveling all the time, and his mom got diagnosed with early onset dementia. He didn't know what to do, And so he used a national company to help try to find the right place. And he got bombarded with phone calls, with emails. They sent his information out to 17 different places. So he's getting sales calls from 17 different places while he's dealing with his mom.
Right.
So he decided to start Senior Living Specialist based on that experience. He wanted a local placement company that is actually in the buildings, that actually follows up with the families, that knows what's going on in each community, how long, the ins and outs of each community. So he started this 12 years ago, and we've helped over 7,000 families in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex.
That's amazing. It has to be so rewarding. And you're really working in the best interest of the family. You're not trying to push them in one way or another.
Right. It doesn't matter to us whether, and I say this all the time, whether it's the most expensive or the least expensive. I want to help you find what's best for your family.
Wow.
So.
Well, your empathy shows. You have a very kind heart, and you're the kind of person that I would want in my corner if I was having to make those kind of personal decisions. We should talk a little bit about COVID-19. What has that been like for you? It's been
hard. It's really been tough. A lot of families who are dealing with someone that needs help right now, it's really tough decisions. They're having to decide if getting the care for their mom is worth getting possibly sick. So a lot of families have held off up until recently with the vaccines, and now people are getting their parents vaccinated and feeling more comfortable with the next step. So I think it's starting to pick up, and people are feeling more comfortable with it. The hardest part, I think, for families is not being able to see their loved one with the restrictions, either at hospitals, at rehabs, even once they get to an assisted living, there's strict restrictions. You maybe have to get a COVID test. You might have to wear a mask. It might have to be a window visit.
Sure.
So that's really, really tough. And it's really tough for the person who's there.
And your company has a great reputation in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, especially when it comes to the media. You told me that you were on 3 different stations in just a few hours. We're going to play a clip from NBC5. This happened about a year ago.
We played games with her.
First watching the news.
While we all stay at home, Susan Zawacki and her partner Joseph Kaiser are taking advantage of this time.
I'm glad she's here. I'm glad the time she came in February before COVID became really intense out here.
Susan's 86-year-old mother, Rosemary, used to live in Florida with her husband of more than 65 years.
And everybody loved Guido and Rosemary.
But Susan's dad passed away last July from COPD. 4 months later, her mom tripped and broke her femur. Rosemary also has dementia.
I told her, I said, I can't take care of you. Like, you need to be taken care of.
As a family, they decided to relocate their mom to a senior living facility here in North Texas. But because of COVID-19, they're waiting.
We wouldn't have been allowed to go in. So we would have to just drop her off with her stuff. They would sterilize it, and they would bring her in and help her get oriented, set up her house. I did not like that at all. I thought, oh, that would just kill her. Feeling like we just abandoned her.
A lot of it really is on hold right now.
Sarah Miller is a social worker for a company called Senior Living Specialist, which help families find housing for seniors. She says because of the pandemic, they've noticed clients, like Susan, are postponing placing loved ones in long-term care facilities.
When people are being discharged from the hospital, a lot of folks are like, I'm going to bring mom home for a month, hire a paid caregiver, and then try and decide, where we go from there.
It's a lot of work. At times, to make sure I have her meds correct and help her in the things she needs, patience.
But Susan is focusing on the positives and is cherishing the moment she has with her mother. Reporting from Hearst, Sophia Beausoleil, NBC5.
Wow, wonderful piece. And I know the state is starting to reopen. We're starting to get grandchildren and children visiting mom and dad again. That's got to be nice.
It is. I'm very happy for the families that we help finally getting some relief. And it's not every family. There's still lots of restrictions. So I'm excited for everyone to get to that point where they can see them again.
Let's talk a little bit about loneliness, because I know that's one of the hardest parts about COVID-19. Grandma and grandpa being separated from the grandkids, and it's heartbreaking pictures of them looking through glass. That must have been tough for you.
Yes, definitely. We have a picture of me and my 3 boys making signs at grandma's rehab, and I get it. I get how, I mean, that was just rehab, but I get how difficult it can be for all of the families. The daughter who's used to being mom, let me do everything for you, or the resident who is used to seeing their children and grandchildren all the time. It's devastating, and it's something that I hope gets talked about a lot in the future. It's really sad.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, we've got about a minute left, so I want you to talk to the viewer right there on the right-hand camera and talk about the person who's watching this saying, do I need somebody like Christy in my life? Because they really should get help. I mean, this is not something
Right. It takes a lot of time and energy. And like senior living specialists, what we do is we're going to help you. We're going to do a little an intake with you, find out care needs, budget, location, and we're going to narrow down your search. We're not going to have you go on driving all around, but we're also a sounding board. We can say, yes, this one, this place offers this one offers that, and just someone to talk to, whether you need any resources, elder care attorneys or caregiver agencies, any senior living thing we can help you find, or at least point you in the right direction if we're not able to.
Wow. Christy, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. We're going to leave with the website, seniorlivingspecialist.com. Christy, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff, for having me.
You bet. And that's it for now. We'll see you next time.